Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. Welcome to the 2023 New York City Fleet Week Kickoff Breakfast. As was mentioned, my name is James Hendon. I serve as Commissioner for the New York City Department of Veteran Services, or DVS. Please rise for the presentation of colors by the USS Wasp Ceremonial Guard, followed by the national anthem, which will be sung by the U.S. Navy's Musician Petty Officer Second Class Holden Moyer, with musical accompaniment from musician Seaman Caleb Dinger. Advance the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
At this time, U.S. Navy Chaplain Lieutenant Brandy Bennett will deliver our opening prayer.
Good morning. I invite you to pray in your faith tradition as I pray in mine. O gracious God, I thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us. Thank you for the hospitality of this great city and the enthusiastic welcome they've given our ships and their crews for the start of Fleet Week. This morning we pray as you instructed us in the book of the prophet Jeremiah. We ask you to prosper the city where you have sent us, praying to you on its behalf, for in its prosperity will be our prosperity. We ask for prosperity over Manhattan, over Brooklyn, over Staten Island, Queens, and the Bronx. Would you bless the leadership of the 5 boroughs, grant them wisdom, justice, and compassion as they steer the course of the city. Bless the sailors that are enjoying the sights of the city, and may the citizens of New York get a taste of the camaraderie amongst shipmates and an appreciation for the magnificent, technologically advanced equipment they employ. Be with us for the remainder of this event. We invite your presence. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Now, where were we? Happy Fleet Week. Come on. Yeah. We want to give honors and salutations to our distinguished guests, starting with our Gold Star families. That is those here who have lost a loved one, specifically a family member in combat service. Let's give these members a round of applause. Come on. Next, we'd like to recognize our elected officials. From the state of New York, our assembly members, Jennifer Raj Kumar from the 38th District, Brian Cunningham, 43rd District, Robert Smullen, 118th District and a Marine Corps veteran, and Lester Chang, 49th District, Navy veteran. Yeah. For our appointed officials from the federal government, Zanetta Adams, Deputy Assistant Secretary, U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. From New York State, Michael Bocchini, Deputy Commissioner, New York State Department of Veteran Services. From the City of New York, Zach Isco, Commissioner, New York City Emergency Management. Vilda Vera Mayuga, Commissioner, NYC Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. Lou Molina, Commissioner, NYC Department of Corrections, and Trey Moynihan, Executive Director, Mayor's Office of Special Projects and Community Events. Yep. Next, key military leaders who are here from our CSC services, our highest ranking official, 78th Secretary of the Navy and a New York City Navy from Hell's Kitchen, the Honorable Carlos Del Toro. Commander, U.S. Fleet Forces Command, Admiral Darrell Cottle. Lieutenant General Brian Cavanaugh, Commanding General, Fleet Marine Forces Atlantic. Vice Admiral Kevin Lundy, Atlantic Area Commander, Coast Guard Defense Forces East. Commander of the Navy's Mid-Atlantic Region, Rear Admiral Wesley McCall. Commander of Carrier Strike Group 8, Rear Admiral Paul Spadero. Commander of the 1st Coast Guard District, Rear Admiral John Malger. Commander of Coast Guard Sector New York, Commander Captain Zeta Merchant. Captain of the 1st Marine Corps District, Colonel Philip Ash. And all leaders from the vessels that are docked here for Fleet Week. Let's give our Sea Service leadership a round. Also want to make sure to acknowledge all of our military leadership, local and visiting commands. And moving on, want to recognize our New York City Veterans Advisory Board and all of its members who are here. Its leadership, Wendy McClinton, Board Chairman, President and CEO, Black Veterans for Social Justice. Mercedes Elias, Board Secretary, Co-CEO, Amerivet Securities. Let's give them a round, please. Yep. Some of our veteran supporters to call out. From Marine for Life, Master Gunnery Sergeant John Escalante. Alana Duffy, founder, Pathfinder Labs. The New York City Navy League Council, Jessica Hitchens, Executive Director, and Dennis Torres, Director of Student Veterans Services for Queens College. Let's give our veteran supporters a round. Also, thank you to our community board members from across the city who are here today. And last but not least, the team at DVS and the Mayor's Office of Special Projects and Community Events, Trey's folks. All parties worked hard behind the scenes to produce this morning's breakfast. And to those who are here from MOSPE and DVS, please raise your hand. MOSPE, DVS. Let's acknowledge them. Yeah. And from DVS, I got to call out Nicole Jordan-Jones, Chuck Rivera, and Cass Alvarez from our team, The Wind Beneath My Wings. And all right, we're going through that. Now, y'all, I have a confession to make. I don't care where this breakfast is. It could be outside, inside, down the street. All that matters is that we're here. And it's time for a roll call. Y'all ready? So let's begin with all my people here who are active duty. Anyone active duty military, make some noise. Active duty military, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? All right? And then folks who are kind of like me, any of our reservists here today. Anybody reserve? Come on, reservists. Yeah. All right, and next up, as far as our militia or guard people, anyone who's militia or guard, holla, come on. Anybody, come on. I know we got Chief in the back, Chief Chang. And then, of course, we got to call out our veterans. Everyone who's served, anyone and all who have served. Our veterans, please, make some noise. Vets. Yeah. All right, that was to get you primed. Next step is to make this thing Coast Guard versus Marine Corps versus Navy. So we got to start with, so we're gonna really see and take score, see who gets this right. For my friends from the Revenue Cutter Service, Coast Guard. Sound off, Coast Guard. Where you at, Coast Guard? Come on, come on. Yeah, it's a Coast Guard city, gotta let folks know. Oh yeah. Now, Devil Dogs. Can you be louder? Where the Devil Dogs at? Marines. Come on, say something, Marines. All right, that's all you got. All right, I got it. All right, now, we got to save the other group. They talk to see if y'all can walk it. Anchors away. U.S. Navy, make some noise. Nice. All right. So who do y'all think won? Who y'all think won? Navy? Oh, I was about to say, y'all know, actually, I think the Army won. That's what I was going to say, actually. I don't want to start. I got to get the secretary back for some stuff he said yesterday, but we can finish that later. But now that we're ready to go, joining us on the stage is our Sea Services speaking party. Commander of U.S. Fleet Forces Command, Admiral Cottle. Also joining is the voice you will hear next. Ladies and gentlemen, the 78th Secretary of the Navy, the Honorable Carlos Del Toro.
Good morning, New York City. Good morning. What a great honor it is to be here with you today, to kick off Fleet Week in this great city with this great mayor. And I want to start by thanking Mayor Adams and the entire city of New York, my hometown, for hosting our sailors and Marines during Fleet Week. Not just this year, but for the past 35 years, our sailors and Marines have been coming to this great city. New York City has always been a Navy town, sorry, Commissioner. From the Civil War's USS Monitor to World War II's USS Iowa and Missouri, the ships built in the Brooklyn Navy Yard remain an integral part of our nation's history, including my very first ship, the USS Kelch. And as you may know, this is my hometown, so I have very strong ties to New York City. I grew up in Hell's Kitchen after coming to this country as refugees from Cuba. I lived there and then moved out to Astoria, Queens as well. And my heart is always with New York City and the people, the working people of this great city. The banks of the Hudson are the background of many fond childhood memories and are part of the reason that I decided to actually join the U.S. Navy, having lived on 42nd Street between 11th and 12th Avenue, just half a block away from the Hudson River, and later in Astoria, Queens, along the Astoria Park, right there at Hell's Gate. There's no doubt that I was psychologically drawn to the maritime. Later, I commissioned USS Bulkley after 22 years in the Navy, shortly after September 11th. And it was here on the Intrepid Museum that I was on September 11th and remained here for 3 years, assisting with all the recovery efforts that took place. And I'm very proud that just a few weeks ago, I was at Pier 88 commissioning the USS Cooperstown, there with, well, I shouldn't draw favorites, but Joe Torre of the New York Yankees. Let me just say that. At one point, Johnny Bench said, "Mr. Secretary, can you stop talking about those damn New York Yankees so much?" New York City is as much a Navy town as it is a global financial capital, maintaining the heart of our nation's economy. New York City represents prosperity, resiliency, and the unbreakable spirit of this city. And that is indeed the mission of our beloved Navy Marine Corps team, to protect our national interests around the globe, around the world, and indeed to protect our national economic interests as well, too. And Mayor Eric Adams aligns with this as someone who has served the people as a New York police officer, senator, Brooklyn Borough president, and now the 110th mayor, who gives a voice, really gives a voice, to working families and strives to build a healthier community, just as I have for the past 2 years as Secretary of the Navy. Thankful for the end of the COVID restrictions, we're back here in New York in full force. Fleet Week is a win-win for the Department of the Navy and for the city of New York. Relationships will be strengthened, partnerships will be embarked on, and memories will be made here while our fleet here is in the city. And I have no doubt that perhaps even a few marriages may be formed in the years to come. So thank you again, Commissioner. Thanks, Mr. Mayor, for your warm welcome to all of us. And may God bless the sailors, Marines, and all New Yorkers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I just want to say one other thing. I want to call out the Secretary's wife, Betty, and Admiral Cattle's wife, Donna, who are in the back. Can we give them a round also, everybody? Just want to acknowledge them, too. Yeah, yeah. 40-year anniversary, we say June.
40th anniversary.
June, was it June?
My wife asked me, honey, what are we doing for our 40th anniversary year? And I said, we're going to Fleet Week.
Oh, goodness gracious. Thank you so much. Just want to make sure we acknowledge them. And now, speaking on behalf of our sea services on the uniform side, the highest ranking uniform member here, Commander, U.S. Fleet Forces, Admiral Cottle.
Well, good morning. Yeah, you want to? Yeah, you can grab that. Thanks. So I know when Betty got that answer from you, sir, she also said that comes with a credit line to Tiffany's. So, but thank you, James, for the introduction. How cool is it to be in Gracie Mansions? Isn't that incredible? So thank you for that introduction, and I'm sure Secretary Del Toro would agree that you and the patrons of New York City really know how to roll out the welcome wagon. And I just want to tell you how much we appreciate you and all New Yorkers for welcoming the Maritime Services back to New York City for Fleet Week 2023. Now, I got to admit, when the roll call went down, I mean, certainly the Navy, we got the mass. Coast Guard, that's a small service. But the Marine Corps roll call, it was weak. I'm just saying. I mean, you need to punch above your weight class. So how about let's hear one more time for the Marine Corps. Give it to me, Marine Corps. Okay, better. You guys are not going to win that tug of war with that effort, I'm just saying. Ain't happening. Now, what many of you may not know, like Mayor Adams, Don and I are plant-based. And I agree with the mayor when he said to us, and I quote him, "In the past, my entire meal was built around my life. Now my life is built around my meal." And Donna certainly holds me to that, accountable to that. But I can tell you that is harder than hell in New York to pull off, especially during Fleet Week. So, like last night at the yacht club, I think we were a swing and a miss. So anyway, we do try to be plant-based, and appreciate the mayor's efforts on that. As many of you may know, it's been a long and special relationship between the Sea Services and New York, dating back to its foundation. New York's master craftsmen and shipyards produced the USS President, one of the original 6 frigates. New Yorkers built the first ironclad ship, as the Secretary mentioned, the USS Monitor, and the first battleship, USS Maine, used to train sailors during World War I at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. And in the early 1900s, you stood proud while we launched the Great White Fleet, announcing to the world that the United States has a global world-class Navy. You helped welcome home our nation's heroes with ticker tape parades following both world wars. And I want to extend a heartfelt thank you for your commitment and long history of support to the military professionals here in New York and around the nation. Fleet Week New York is now in its 35th year. It is an honor and privilege to visit and take in the wonderful hospitality which the people of New York City always have to offer. I am thrilled to report that we have this year USS Wasp, Oak Hill, Cole, USS Oregon, Coast Guard cutter, several NATO ships, and many more here this week's Fleet Week, bringing with them over 2,700 sailor, Marines, and Coast Guardmen. And those sailors, Marines, and Coast Guardmen you will see and hopefully meet this week hail from across the country, each with different backgrounds and experiences, but one common denominator. Every one of them were called to serve, and they share the common virtues of selfless service and devotion to duty. While the mission sets for the military and citizens of New York may be different, our values are hard work, toughness, grit, determination, and innovation remain aligned. I can say without a doubt that our fleet is more resilient, our fleet is more ready, and our fleet is more lethal today, perhaps more than any other time in history, because in large part due to the unwavering support and steadfast lifelong partnerships we have with cities like New York and the leadership in this room. After your engagements with these impressive service members, you will know why, without a doubt, our enduring competitive advantage over any adversary is and will always remain our people. As your away team, we are and will always remain ready to fight and win for this nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Admiral Cottle. Ladies and gentlemen, I am humbled and honored to introduce the 110th Mayor of the City of New York Police Department Captain retired, New York State Senator Emeritus and former Chair of the Senate's Veterans, Homeland Security and Military Affairs Committee, and Brooklyn Borough President Emeritus, Mayor of the City of New York. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Eric Leroy Adams.
We want to ask Captain Merchant, would you please come and join us as well on the stage as well. Come on up and join us. Captain Zeta Merchant, Captain of the Coast Guard. Fleet Week is such an important time. 35 years ago was during the time I started my career in law enforcement. And the uniforms may change and be different, but it still has the same obligation. And as the Admiral stated, the reason we are victorious through all domestic and foreign wars is because of our people, The American people is a special group of human beings. It's the spirit that's planted in us throughout our lives. A level of patriotism commit us to serve and protect during the most difficult times. If it's an attack on Pearl Harbor, or if it's the destruction of our center of trade down in lower Manhattan, or the attack on the Pentagon. Something arises inside us, our call of duty. And as I spoke with our secretary, we had a brief conversation that it alarms me, because the root of who we are is what we instill in our people. It starts from the age of our children. And when we look at the dwindling numbers across our country, in the armed forces as well as the law enforcement community, we have to look towards the future and state who's going to replace us. What happens after we reach the point of transitioning from our military service? What does our bench look like? Who is in our minor leagues? Who are the next players on the field that will water the tree of freedom with their blood and commitment to ensure the hot rays of violence and other isms don't destroy the democracy that we know? That question mark lingers over us. Because when you look at one poll that stated 52% of Americans will not protect our country if it's attacked by foreign enemies. That is a warning sign. But I want to make it clear here during this 35th Fleet Week. I'm part of the 48 percenters. I wake up every day saying I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's the country that I know, and that's the country I believe in. I'm clear across the globe that no matter what country you are in, there's only one country where dream is attached to its name. There's not a German dream, a French dream, a Russian dream, but damn it, there's an American dream. And that dream is protected by the men and women who wear their uniforms on a national level or a local level. A sheriff, a cop, a marshal, a Marine, an Army, a Coast Guard, a Navy, an Air Force. All those uniforms have one goal, and that is to protect our way of life. Now we must look backwards and start instilling back into our children at the basic level of what it is to be patriotic to the country that has become the symbol for humankind, of how you live at the level that we live as Americans. That's our fight. That is what we're protecting. The Trojan horse of hate has found itself in the heartland of our country. It's time for us not to fall victim as others have fallen victim. So we welcome you here at Fleet Week. We welcome you to enjoy the great city. We welcome you to spend time moving about, but then we must board our ships. We must get back on our bases. We must get back into our planes. We must get back into the beaches, onto the beaches, and once again move to defend this country, to defend what we stand for. Because the rocket red glare of bombs burst in the air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Those bombs are not only the physical bombs, they're the bombs of COVID, they're the bombs of violence, they're the bombs of financial challenges, they're the bombs of uncertainty with thousands of people entering our country. They're the bombs of elections where some win and some lose. They're the bombs of terrorism that attacks us. No matter what happens, we must make sure that the flag is still there. Happy Fleet Week. We want to present to an amazing Secretary Del Toro. We want to present to you this apple. It's not going to replace the Tiffany you have to buy for your wife. But we want to place it on your desk. We really thank you. You're a true New Yorker, a true American, and anytime you're here, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, on behalf of the nearly 1 million sailors and Marines and civilians who serve in our Department of the Navy, we present you with this plaque, with this paddle, resemblant of our support to you when times get tough. Break it off the wall and use it to your advantage.
And we also, I want to make sure we acknowledge our Assemblyman Smullen, Robert Smullen. He's also a retired veteran. We want to thank him for his service as well. Thank you very much.
Let's have another round for our mayor. Woo! All right, that concludes our program for today. You don't have to go home and you don't have to get out of here yet. We have the place until 10. Please continue to enjoy yourself, and to learn more about the New York City Department of Veteran Services, visit nyc.gov/vets. It's nyc.gov/vets. To learn more about 2023 Fleet Week activities, visit fleetweeknewyork.com. Once again, it's fleetweeknewyork.com. Please join with us as we celebrate this season, and happy Fleet Week, everybody. Thank you. All right.